Hey everybody, Spidey here as always. I hope you're having a marvelous day. Have I got a treat for you? With Marvel cards, the reason we get to enjoy it is because of the artists who create the art on the cards. And I have one of the biggest artists in the hobby, and Tom Fleming, who's been around. Tom, I think you've been making Marvel card art since what, mid to early 90s?
1994 was my first card for DC. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
DC doesn't count. We only count Marvel.
Then Marvel was later in 94.
So that still counts. 1994. The first set I remember is Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. You did a Stunner, a Sandman, a Tombstone, if I remember correct.
That is correct. Actually, the first set that I ever worked on, I only did one card, and they did it. It was kind of like a trial. I was pretty wet behind the ears, and I did the forearm card for the Ultra X-Men.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the forearm was the first Marvel card that I ever did.
Well, that is definitely a trial run. That character, right? Not that's like a CD list character, but that's a pretty cool card though.
Yeah, they were really happy with the results, and I wound up getting hired to do a Incredible Hulk Sega Genesis Super Nintendo based on the reference that I got from the editor at the Marvel cards. So yeah, it was a good stepping stone.
Well, that is pretty cool. Well, I'm going to catch people up to where we're at today, and then we'll fill in the gaps. So right now We've got Fleer Ultra Avengers, which is coming out, a big original art set. And Tom, if I remember correctly, you've been commissioned to do 9 cards, an insert, or well, not an insert, kind of a subset in that set. Tell us more about that.
Well, okay, so I did the 9 cards of the Silver Age, all the Silver Age characters. Most of them, actually, I think all of them, I posted and shared on my social media pages. Mm-hmm. And then there's actually there's another project that I did for that set, which, they have not announced that yet. So I probably should hold my tongue.
Yeah, let's not get in trouble.
Just for a little bit longer. I'm really excited about it, and I'll talk more about it once that is announced.
Well, one thing I've seen your vision. I've seen the Spider-Man. I've seen She-Hulk. Is it a Black Panther, Falcon, and who am I forgetting?
Spider-Man.
That's Spider-Man.
Starbrand, Spectrum, Hawkeye.
Oh yeah.
Who else? Yeah, Hawkeye. Hawkeye was one of the first.
Yeah, I think that's all 9 of them, but that's going to be really cool to have that subset, and then whatever else may come from it. Those look pretty cool. And so you went from forearm to now original art Fleer Ultra Avengers, and you get to do Spider-Man. So that's pretty special.
Yeah, so it is. Actually, Upper Deck, I have to give them a lot of kudos for being so good to me. It's gotten to the point where they give me the list and let me choose my characters, and it's doing the 9 Silver Age characters was my thing is doing the classic version of the character when I was a kid. So that was perfect, a perfect project for me. And I've never actually, it was kind of cool. I've never actually painted the classic Spider-Man. I've done Venom. I've done the symbiote costume. I've done Ben Reilly. I've done a whole bunch of them, but never the classic Spider-Man. So that was a really nice one to get in the set.
That is real cool. I'll tell you something that really stands out to me about your art is you typically have like a shine or a bit of a spark or a highlight that tends to hit the gleam of the character in some way. And what I've been impressed is you've stayed really consistent with that over 30 years now.
Yeah, okay, that's an interesting observation. I had comments that I never got any kind of like real answer of, some people have said you're glowing style or you're shiny, or so yeah, the highlights and a lot of it has to do with the character and adding some energy, energy to the piece. And it's a trading card, so it's it really is. It's very different than a comic cover or a book cover where when something gets shrunk down, this big. It's got to check, and you got to be shuffling through the deck and look at back in the day when they were accessible to everyone. They were in Walmart and Target and everything. You could just go pick up packs. You're just shuffling through. You want to do something to catch their attention, and it's got to be a really powerful piece and somewhat simple.
Well, I have the box here from Fleer Ultra X-Men, and you did the Magneto, and you can see the highlight on the helmet there. And actually, I have the card here. Yeah, the card's right here. And you're right. Like it certainly catches the eye, pretty quickly. Let's see if I can get that to focus. And that's got to be, I would imagine, an amazing feeling to have your card selected as the box art.
It's a great honor. I think that there's actually a kind of cool. I think it would be a really cool thing for Upper Deck for us artists to give us, because I know that there's some artists that take this as they just pretty much bang out cards really quick and whatever. And I know that if there's an incentive for a bonus or something like that, if your art was chosen for the packaging, that it would up the quality of the art, I think, to a pretty big degree.
Wow, that is a great point. And I love what you're saying, because what I'm hearing is that you have poured into the art for the card because you realize, hey, there's a chance this could be selected as the box art.
Yeah, and with the box art, it's more of just an honor of like, wow, cool. That's that's flattering that they chose my piece to market and represent the set. But there's no there's no financial bonus or any kind of anything like that. So I think it would be a kind of a cool little inner competition between the artists to see who can get that box art.
Absolutely. Now that is a really great point. So we've got 2022 Fleer Ultra Avengers coming out now. Probably the set prior to that I'm thinking of your art primarily is 2019 Flair Marvel, and the Venom that was in that set just sticks out to me so strongly. Is that the most recent set out of in the most recent years that you've done work in?
2008, yeah. And geez, this Avengers set that's coming out now, I did the artwork during the shutdown during COVID 2020. So there was nothing. Yeah, that's how long it's been.
Wow.
So and I've got a little tidbit about that Venom piece. In that Flair set, I was working on that set. And I only was able, because of the deadlines and stuff, I was only able to take 2 cards in that set. That was Venom and the Punisher.
Right.
And I was working on Venom, and I live in North Carolina, and Hurricane Florence decided to come through. And, we get pretty hard in North Carolina with hurricanes. I'm right on the ocean in Wilton. So the storm was heading our way. I know that in a couple of days I'm losing power, and I take my deadlines extremely seriously. And I like to be known as very professional, and I when I have a deadline, I hit my deadline. So knowing the power was coming out, the hurricane was coming and the power was going to go out, I was working like pretty much around the clock. Got Venom done the day the hurricane hit, and the wind started picking up and stuff. Finished Venom, was able to get it scanned in before the electric went out, and then the power went out, and I painted the Punisher by candlelight and on my back deck during the lulls of the storm, while taking care of my in-laws and wife, and then I just got lucky. My house is very close to the airport, on the airport grid, and the power came on. The hurricane hit like on a Thursday, and the power came back on probably for a moment on Monday, and I had the painting done. I scanned it in before the power went back out, and I sent it into the upper deck in Marble, and they were just flabbergasted that, they're watching on the news, Wilmington completely underwater and flooding and stuff, and I hit my deadlines. That Punisher piece was not my favorite piece of art, but it's one of my proudest deadline moments.
Wow, what an incredible story of commitment and honoring. Well, really, that occurs to me as integrity. Like, you honor your word by doing what you say you're going to do. Even when the odds and the circumstances were stacked against you.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's when somebody hires me, it's their project. I'll always give my input, but I'm not a temperamental artist that wants to always do it my way. It's whoever hires me, I'm going to give input, and I will work to make them happy and do what they need me to do and get on time. So yeah, integrity is a pretty important, I think, is a very important thing as a person, never mind being a professional. So yeah, that was one of those moments where at the end of the day, I was pretty proud of the outcome.
Well, this
but
speaks
painting by candlelight is painting by candlelight, not something I want to do in the future.
I hear you loud and clear there, but at the same time, this speaks to why you have been consistently included over the last 30 years in Marvel cards, and I know various other things, but that is the emphasis of this channel. That is really special. I'm going to have to take a second look at that Punisher. I'm very familiar with the Venom, and I can see the Punisher in my head. There's a lot going on around him, but I want to take a second look at it, knowing that you had to do that in those circumstances. Yeah,
and then for this Avengers set, there's another little story that I'll tell about deadlines, which we'll leave it at that. Yeah. But there's another pretty good one coming up very soon.
Well, we'll have to do a follow-up once the set releases and we get to really appreciate the art.
Absolutely.
And you're more open to speak up about it. We'll certainly do that. Now, going back to the 90s, my childhood was in the 90s. That's when I first became, associated with this hobby and the art on these cards. I'm remembering, you did a stunner. Is that from Fleer?
Yeah.
Wolverine?
That was Ultra Spider-Man.
That was in Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah, that was the Spider-Man.
Dazzler. That's who I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, yep. Dazzler was a fun one. Yep. I actually used my sister-in-law as to pose for that one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. I very often, like, if there's somebody that fits the character, just general facial structures, things like that, I'll use friends and family a lot for the basic photo reference. I got really, it was really fun way back. It was Ultra Wolverine set back in the 90s, where they gave me Mojo World subset. Or I don't even know if it was a subset, but it was like 12 cards. It was like 9 or 12 cards. And part of it was the X-Babies.
Yes.
And I did, the X-Babies. And I was not very jazzed about doing the X-Babies. Mm-hmm. But when you get a project that you're not that jazzed about, you got to find ways to get excited about it and make it fun. So using my little nephew and niece for the models was exactly what I needed to do. And it was pretty awesome when the set came out. They actually brought the trading cards with the photo reference into school and showed it for show and tell. And they showed, So that was kind of a cool thing. And now they're in their 30s, and I'm like, oh my God, how much time? Yeah.
That is really cool to know that that's how you got, to use your word, jazzed up to do it, because it was your relatives that you were representing on the card. I will say, for me personally, that 1996 Fleer Ultra Wolverine set is one of the most underrated sets of the 90s. I think that original art is on par with a lot of the other sets that get, all the hubbub. But for some reason, that one gets overlooked a little bit.
Yeah. It was a really good set. And, back in the day, in the 90s, I was up and coming and, trying to work my way in to a bunch of different avenues and stuff, and doing a lot of trading cards at the time. We had a whole group of real good friends that, we kind of went through the trenches together. Dave DeVries being one of them. Dave's, we went to school together. And we're lifelong friends. So
wait, you both went to Syracuse?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Very cool. I didn't realize Dave went to Syracuse.
Yes. Yep. We went through the same courses and stuff. I met Dave in Syracuse our freshman year, and I remember we used to climb out on our studio was in a building that was very castle. It was like a very castle-like. And we would climb out on the ledge of the third story and then climb up onto the roof and sit on the roof overlooking Syracuse, and just kind of chill out on the roof. And I remember a cool moment was we were sitting up there kind of contemplating what the heck was going to be going on in our future. Are we going to make it? Is it, is it going to be one of those things where, a year and a half we get frustrated and wind up having to get, other jobs, things like that. And, there's so much anxiety and nervous anticipation when you're an artist graduating from school of, am I good enough kind of thing. And when that Ultra Spider-Man set came out, back in the day, they used to do what they included in Wizard magazine and stuff called the 4-Up, and it was like it was one card with 4 of the trading cards printed on it. So it was 4 cards on one actual promotional card.
Yeah.
And they chose one of my pieces and one of Dave's pieces out of the 4 for the 4-Up, and that was kind of for me. That was like a defining moment for me and Dave of like, holy crap, we made it.
You made it. That is really awesome. Do you remember which of your 2 cards were on that fora?
Oh yeah. It was my, and it was a really proud moment for me because the character was completely an obscure character. So they chose it based on the painting, and it was Judas Traveler.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
With the hand, the hand coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave's was Vermin, I believe. He was holding the rat.
The Insane Asylum Vermin?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, they were 2 not very well-known characters, but they chose them for the 4-Up, which was really cool. So, we knew that it was based on the paintings, not on just the character.
Wow, that is such a cool story. I love that you had that aha moment of, not that you had arrived, but that your work was valuable and it was worth it. Like you had put in the talent and the work, and it was coming together.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So, question for you, because, I'm obviously young at this time. A lot of people that are watching the channel, we were interpreting the 90s as kids. And so what was happening around Marvel at the time and Marvel cards going into 96, in 97, 98 and so forth, how would you describe kind of the downfall or the slowdown of Marvel cards during that period of time? Like what happened?
Okay, so weird thing for me. Because I never felt the slowdown, even though I know it happened, because what happened with me, I was doing all the Marvel cards in 94 and 96, I believe. It was the Ultra X-Men, Ultra Wolverine, and Ultra Spider-Man right around there and stuff. And then during the slowdown, it was kind of a strange thing for me. My career kind of transitioned from Marvel cards into Magic the Gathering and the Versus trading card game.
Mm-hmm.
So I never stopped doing cards. It was just different products that I was working on, and so therefore, you know, I didn't really feel that kind of absence of work. And then, geez, a lot of time went by with the Marvel cards. And what year did did the new X-Men set come out? Was that
2018.
Was it 18 or 17?
Well, it's considered the 2018 Fleer Ultra X-Men.
Oh, okay.
But when you painted it, or you know, when it occurred for you, I'm not sure.
Okay, so yeah, it was 2017 when I got the call from Jennifer Wu, who was the art director at Upper Deck, saying, "Hey, we're bringing back the Fleer brand, and we want some fresh blood, and we want some of the the old guys that did the stuff back in the 90s." And I asked her, and I hope I'm remembering correctly, but I asked her, like, why, who did she contact, and like, why me? And it was kind of a moment where I felt my age, because she said something like, well, she kind of grew up with the stuff, and then she said, and you've been on my bucket list to work with. So
that's awesome, though.
Super flattering. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. But yeah, that was a really cool moment of the Fleer sets coming back and getting back involved, because I'm a Marvel guy. I am not, DC at one point was giving me some excellent Versus trading cards to paint, but I grew up with Marvel, and those characters are, those are dear, those are, close to my heart. And that's why the Silver Age characters in this Avengers set was so fun to do. But yeah, it kind of was a strange thing for me. I just filled in the gaps naturally with other things, and then the Marvel stuff came back around.
Didn't you do work in 2017 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man?
Yes.
So with that,
I did Wolverine and
Black Costume Spider-Man.
And Black Costume Spider-Man. That's exactly it. Yep.
I mean, so that conversation with Jennifer was actually probably connected to Fleer Ultra Spider-Man, right?
Correct. That's why I thought 2017. Yep. Yes. That's exactly it.
The X-Men set was 2018, but they were very close together. And so, but to be given Wolverine and Spider-Man in that set, that was special. Yes.
And I never take anything for granted when somebody, and the appreciation of when an art director or editor trusts me with these, the big characters. And Upper Deck has been at the top of the list they really, I can't say enough, how excellent they've been to me.
Well, that Wolverine is really special to me, just from an art standpoint. And I love how you put the claws in the forefront of that card, the way that you did. It really worked with the highlights that stand out to me in your art. But nowadays, for some reason, the claws are starting to not be as prevalent in some of the cards. And I don't know, maybe it's just a coincidence, but it does seem to be.
Well, I will say this. Let's just say that the guidelines have changed quite a bit with some of the things that they tell us to, like, we can no longer show. It used to be, if there was a gun in image, it cannot be pointed at the viewer.
Right.
I've done sketches with guns, and they said take the guns out completely. So they're being responsible as far as, I guess, certain things that they want to promote and don't want to promote. So I guess the clause, blood is, things like that. Keep it to a reasonable level, or or not at all, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, are we going back to the comic code a little bit, where you get the pals,
right?
You don't actually get the punch.
Yeah, right.
It's going to be interesting to see how that continues to evolve, because primarily Marvel cards are still going into the hands of hobbyists. We're talking about people who are older who can afford it because it's gotten expensive, and getting access to it is actually pretty difficult. You kind of have to know where to look and when to look, and that's a challenge. But you said something earlier. You said there was a time when you could go get these cards in a Walmart, or you could reasonably go find them anywhere. And so you were thinking through how to make the card stand out, because there was a lot of it, so to speak.
Yeah.
What would you like to see in terms of the availability of Marvel cards moving into the future?
I mean, I really wish that the distribution would go big again. It works two different ways for me. There's one way that works as a businessman, and then there's one way that works as kind of a fan also, because I am a Marvel fan, where, for kids, I would like to see kids, because I'm worried half of the reason why there's so much excitement around the cards now is because back in the day when they were super accessible, when you were a kid, you got attached to those projects, and now you're an adult with money, and now you can actually afford the original art, and you get excited. You can pay $300-400 for a box and things like that. So in the future, in 10 years, in 20 years from now, is that even going to be? Is it going to be a thing? Because now it's adults just buying it. There is no kids, no new generation, really, for the most part, involved with trading cards, because they're so specialized. So I would love to see that, back, going into Walgreens and Walmart, and I know that kind of drops the level of the collectability and things like that. It changes it for sure. But I would like to, I don't even know half the time what to say to my friends and family that want to go buy a pack,
Yeah, it's tough. It really is a tough. I get asked all the time, hey, where can I find or buy these products? I'm almost embarrassed to tell them, because even if I do tell them, they go and they're getting this unbelievable sticker shock to see 12 packs cost them $300 or $400. And it's tough, because, I think, from the conversations that I hear from others is, we kind of would like to keep this private and to ourselves, because if everybody finds out about this, the prices are going to go up. And then at the same time, I'm like, well, if we don't tell everybody about it and we don't get more collectors in the hobby, then the desire for Upper Deck to print more won't ever exist.
Right.
And I have nephews that are, 8 and 6 years old, and right now they're growing up into Pokemon because their mother can't go to Walmart and buy a Marvel card pack. The only thing she can buy is Pokemon. And even if she, their uncle, who's significantly in the hobby, I live on the same street as my nephews, there's it's hard to even get them into it because the access to the product is so limited. So I'm like you, I would much rather see, more product available in places like Walmart, Target, and Walgreens or GameStops. And if they still want to create limited, special, hard number hobby boxes, they could do that too. It'd just be different.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, you could still have that higher end collectibility as part of the set. I agree. So yeah, who knows? I guess it would help if us artists kind of put that word in to some degree to to our art directors, to our editors, and who knows what will happen. I know there's a business plan, there's a business structure that they're following, and obviously it has to be working. Otherwise, they would stop printing the cards and putting them out. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I don't know. I just have a sense that the future, the nostalgia plays a role in this. And if you're not creating these early childhood memories, these human experiences at the young age, then you don't build in the nostalgia that drives your ability to spend, your discretionary income on something that you don't need, but you'd like to have.
Yep, exactly. And that's I don't know how familiar you are with my early work and stuff, but I started out right out of college. My first job was designing costumes for the World Wrestling Federation and creating the characters. Yeah. So that has come full circle, 30 years later. All of a sudden, all those kids that were watching wrestling when they were 7, 8 years old, now it's like, they're in their 40s and they have money, and it's crazy how it's come full circle for me.
Well, and I've never been into wrestling, so I can't speak specifically into that hobby, but what I can tell you is that my friends who are my age with young kids their kids are into wrestling. But again, they're creating a human experience because it's available and they can watch it, and you go to the department stores, it's there and available. But we have Marvel. What's a bigger entertainment brand right now than Marvel from a movie and TV show standpoint?
That's it. Yeah.
I would just love to see the trading cards on scale, properly scaled with how big the entertainment brand is, and I think that would be helpful.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, my gosh, the movies. Can there possibly be a bigger advertisement than the movies for the product? I know that they use the comics and stuff as the advertising for the movies. All the money is in the movies and merchandise.
It's special to me that comics are the source material for the movies and for the cards, and I don't ever want to lose sight of that combination of writer and artist that creates a story, a visual story that's really special. But I could see a place where trading cards is not an entry into the industry. It could be one of the pinnacles of the industry, and the way that Magic the Gathering is. And I could see that becoming the case for Marvel cards moving into the future. But these are just my thoughts. I'm just a guy hitting record on YouTube, so
right. That's Tom, okay. Put your ideas out there.
Yes, sir. Tom, this has been a real treat. Anything else you would like for the people to watch to know about you, where they can find you, maybe where they could purchase some original art? Or I don't know if you're doing commissions or anything like that, but is there anything that you would like for them to know?
So I mean, just the basics. As far as the original art goes, let's kind of touch base. I know that there's collectors out there that have been buying art for a long time. They're really into it. I just want everyone to understand that making a living as an artist is super challenging, whatever level you're at. So I just, in order for these projects with Upper Deck, any of the reward, the financial reward, comes through selling the original art. They do not pay us that much to do the cards. Back in the day, in the 90s, it was a whole different thing where we got paid to do the actual artwork was significantly more than it is now. So the original art, we have to try to be fair and balance, getting the art into, as far as, and I'm speaking for myself, I want my art to be in a good home, appreciated, but I also need to try to, get as much of the value of it as I can. And for a long time, I was selling my art for very, very cheap because I had to. I was making a living. And as soon as that set was announced, I would just sell the pieces. And then I would watch those same exact pieces being resold on the resale market and stuff, and watching this peak thousands and thousands of dollars on, on the hard work that, that I put in. So
Tom,
now I'm trying to figure out a way.
I saw a post where I think you were selling the black costume Spider-Man from Fleer Ultra 2017 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. And I think I saw the price of it and I was like, holy smokes, that is way too cheap.
Okay, that was a while ago then. Yeah, I sold that piece a while ago. Yeah. So now eBay has become, for years I did the eBay thing. They are killing us with fees between eBay, PayPal. So the only thing that makes sense at this point to avoid those fees is doing organic auctions on Facebook Messenger. Yeah. And I did a test with my Wolverine piece that I reacquired, and for a first time it went fairly well. There was definitely things that I need to iron out and stuff, but generally the way I'm going to sell the art is notifying from my email list, from the Facebook groups. The Facebook groups have been awesome. Let me just say that right off. I can't say enough how supportive and awesome, all you guys have been through those groups. So I always announce everything on those Facebook groups, on my personal pages, and then I have an email announcement list that if you want to guarantee getting the heads up on stuff, go to my website and there's a pop-up that's you could sign up for the announcement list. Because I did have a couple of collectors very upset with me when I sold that Wolverine piece, saying that they've been contacting me, asking about, pieces for the Avengers, this and that, and then they got overlooked. And I feel horrible about it. That was not intended. Sometimes my announcement lists, kind of get a little bit shuffled in the paperwork and this and that. And I'm trying to really refine that so that everybody that wants to be notified is going to be notified. So my apologies go out to the people that got overlooked on the first 3 Avengers pieces and that Wolverine piece. But I think I have everybody now in those, in the email list and the Facebook groups that everybody that needs to be and wants to be notified will be notified. And then I'm just going to do, the organic auctions like I did with the Wolverine piece, and have an end time, which will probably be a Friday and end on a Sunday like I did with Wolverine. And then there'll be a soft end where it's the last person that bids, it'll add 5 minutes. And then when that 5 minutes is up, it's over until, unless somebody else bids, then 5 minutes will be added, that kind of thing. And I'm going to see how that goes. If I need to adjust and there's problems, I'll just have to, adjust, and I'm hoping not to go back to eBay. But we'll see. That, that's pretty much in a nutshell, how to get the original art. And, feel free to message me on Facebook Messenger or email through the website. I will, and I try to answer every single email that I get. I don't like to ignore, and if you don't get a response, it's not intentional. It just, eventually you will. It's just because I'm in the middle of a deadline and just haven't had a chance to get to the responses yet.
Yeah, so Facebook, you've got Art of Tom Fleming, and then do you have another Facebook page that you would like for people to follow?
Actually, before I knew about professional page, the Art of Tom Fleming, I had my personal page, but the personal pages get maxed out at 5,000 followers. So, I stop at like 4,990, and I leave 10 spaces for like art directors and editors and professional people, so the Art of Tom Fleming is actually the page to go to. And then I always announce on the actual Marvel card Facebook groups also.
Awesome. Are you on Instagram, Tom?
Yep, Instagram, Tom Fleming Art, at Tom Fleming Art, at Tom Fleming Artwork, I think. Yeah. Awesome. Yep.
Well,
I'm on there.
I know that we can do to support you and artists like you is if we see a piece up for sale, that we can share it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Without doubt, that's super appreciated. Appreciate it.
I will certainly continue to do that as I see it. Anything else you'd have us know, Tom, about commissions or anything of that nature?
Well, right now I'm booked. I'm probably booked for the next 7 months.
Hey, praise the Lord. That's great.
Yeah, I'm doing actually the whole series of all the endless characters in Sandman. So in my fine art style. So that's a really fun project. And then that's along with whatever big professional projects I have that come along in between there. I'm always juggling, the WWE stuff, gaming stuff, whatever comes through. And I've done, a bunch of movie and TV work. So, I never know, what's going to happen when the phone rings, or actually the phone doesn't even ring anymore. When email comes in, I should say. It's, as far as commissions, always reach out if you have something, because I do sometimes have gaps in between commissions and things like that where I just want to take a break and do something fun. And if you hit me with a character that really kind of tickles my fancy, it very well could happen. So yeah,
somebody might reach out and want a forearm again.
There you go. Right. Yeah.
Well, Tom, this has been a real treat. I've enjoyed getting to know you and hear from you. Excited to see what's coming in the future of your art and Marvel card set. Sounds like there may be even stuff beyond the 2022 Fleer Ultra Avengers. So very excited about that. Feel free to be a friend of the channel. Anytime we can help you or serve you in any ways, please let us know. But everybody, thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. But as always, I hope you have a marvelous day.